Zero sound.
Zero sound? Okay. So, connected that one again. Okay. Okay, now we have sound. Okay. Hi everyone. For those of you who have popped in early, hi to Gail and hi to Terry. I'm actually just doing a little bit of a sound check. Sorry, now I have to attach this. All right, I'm getting a thumbs up from the team. So I'm going to start the whole actual live stream at 10, just to give everyone some time to log in. But for everyone who's here already, thank you so much for doing sound check with me. Just had a little bit of problems last week, so I thought I would start the stream a little bit early this week to try and get it happening. So thank you all for doing that. I do just have to step off camera for 1 sec, but you're still going to hear me. I'm just making sure that I can actually see my sound board from where I'm standing so that I can keep an eye on it. Yes, okay. What you guys can't see is I am surrounded not only by many sewing machines, so I have our small brother here, but I also have like a whole bank of machines behind the screen that you can't see. But I also have 3 sets of lights, my main camera, a massive computer so that I can actually read the chat as I'm going, and a smaller computer which is powering everything. So this is why I'm doing my sound check early today, to make sure that I've got everything going, because sometimes there's a lot happening. So we all seem to be going well, and that we are happening with our sound. Oh, fantastic. Gail is saying that she got notified that I was going live. So that is fantastic. I noticed that Gail is on YouTube there. So if anyone is struggling to find out when we're going live, if you're on YouTube and you hit the little bell, you'll always know for there as well. All right, I'm going to just hit the opening scene for a little bit, take a quick sip of water, and then we're going to be back with the actual live stream. Hi everyone, and welcome to another Hatch live stream. For everyone who was here 5 minutes early, thank you so much for being part of Soundcheck. After our sound issues last week, I thought I would jump in early and get it all sorted out. I've got the team working outside. They came in to give me the big thumbs up once we had it all working. So thank you all for helping. We will probably continue to do that for our live stream. So we'll do a little bit of a sound check. So for like the first 5 minutes, and then we'll start. So if you ever miss the very, very start, no problems. It's just us doing some housekeeping. So thank you all to everyone. We've got Gail and Terry coming in from around the world. I saw a hello from Deb from Western Sydney. I hope you're having a good morning in Western Sydney there. And we've got someone, Lynn's in from Phoenix as well. So I hope everyone's been having a really wonderful week and has been having lots of fun stitching things out. As always, if you want to join in and show us what you're actually stitching out, don't forget to join our Facebook user group. It is a fantastic way to not only ask questions, but you also get to show off what you're making. And it's a really wonderful for us because we get to see what everyone is making. So that's really fun for us. And as always in the lives, I love to know where you're all coming in from around the world. So please let us know where you're coming in from. Today, Sydney is not raining, for which I am very excited. We have had so much rain that whenever it doesn't rain at the moment, we all just seem to get extra happy about it. It also made my commute in very speedy because there wasn't many cars on the road. So that was really awesome for me. So I hope everyone else has had a wonderful morning as well. Someone's saying how beautiful it is in South Australia. I had someone show me photos the other day from South Australia of the most beautiful blossoms in the trees coming through, because for us here in Australia, it's springtime. So we're getting lots of like wattle out and the cherry blossoms are out. So they were showing me wattle pictures and it looked amazing. It looked so beautiful. All right, so today we're actually going to be doing a Fun in the Hoop project, which we have done as a Father's Day project. But everyone in the office loved it so much, we ended up with a little production line. So it's not just for dads, it can work for everyone. So I'm going to show you a little bit of a photo of our project. And today we're actually working with leather as well. So our leather hide is quite a lightweight leather. It's not a thick, heavy sort of shoe style leather. It's definitely a soft, supple style of leather. And we've made a little fold over card holder. So you'll see it all in pieces in a moment when we go through the actual stitching out. And we're going to show you some really fun ways to do monograms in Hatch. And when you're doing monograms in Hatch, it is so easy because there is so much stuff built into Hatch to make it so easy for you. So we're going to be going through the stitch outs and some of the digitizing of that today. And one of the big things I wanted to talk to you about today is we are currently running our back to school promo. So for anyone who doesn't own Hatch and has maybe dropped into the live stream to see that maybe this is the program that's going to work for you, it totally will. It's also on special. So what you'll actually see with the promo is it's currently on sale where you will save up to US $200 off digitizer level. As we all know, there are many different levels within Hatch, so you can also save on some of the other levels, but your biggest savings are going to be on digitizer. And whenever you get digitizer, don't forget you get the bonus of full access to the Hatch Academy, including the How to Digitize course. This course is fabulous for anyone who wants to really grow their skills within embroidery and wants to have like a really nice foundation and start point for it. It's a great way, it steps you through things. And it not only shows you how to do things, it also explains why you should do things. Because sometimes you can follow along an example and you can follow it like step by step, but at the end of it, you're like, I don't know how to apply this to other things. Thankfully, everything in the Academy, it shows you not only the how, but the why. And I really love that because it means that we grow from every single project and our skills just keep getting better and better along the way. If anyone had any specific questions about the offers on board, the team is on the chat to actually help you out and answer some of those questions. So if you had any extra questions about the back to school offer, that is available as well. And we've got some more people coming in from Rosewood in Queensland. Hi to Heather. We have Anna coming in from Ontario and Larry and Jessie from Toms River in New Jersey. That sounds really fun. I was trying to read that as I was going and I was like, I've missed a word there. And we've got Lindy, as always, from Tucson. Lindy is one of our fantastic people that you will hear from and see all the time on the Academy. So thank you so much, Lindy, for giving up part of your day to drop into the live stream as well. As always, it is fantastic to see everyone coming in around the world. So that's fantastic. Yes, so Lynn is like, Father's Day was in June. Yes, so Father's Day around the world is on different dates. It would make my job a lot easier if it was all on the one day. But around the world, we choose to celebrate our dads on different days. And for Australia, it's coming up this weekend. So the good thing about this project that we're going to show you today is not only is it great for Dad for Father's Day, it also makes a really great Christmas present if we're coming up into Christmas or any of the other holidays that you might be celebrating in this festive period coming up. So it's definitely not a Father's Day specific project, but it is something that we know that everyone in your life will love. Okay, so we're going to jump in and we're going to show part of our first stitch out. So as I said, this is going to be an in the hoop design. So firstly, we have hooped up with some a stabilizer. This is a non-tearaway stabilizer, so it is a regular stabilizer. And we're stitching out our placement line so we know where to place our leather. Now, the needle that we're using our 10 needle brother machine here at the moment, is just a regular needle. Later on, when we swap to start stitching on the leather, we have swapped to leather needles within a side of our 10 needle. And so here we're placing down our leather and we are taping it into position. And one of the reasons we're using tape is that if we use pins to float the leather, the pins can create holes inside the leather. So we've actually chosen to use tape, and we have rolled some tape and placed some tape underneath, as well as taped the corners as well, to allow for not only the thickness of the leather, but the fact that it is not securely, well, it is securely hooped down, but it's not super securely like we would normally float things. We've actually slowed the machine down as well. I have sped the footage up a little bit for you to be able to see this, but we've actually slowed our machine down to 500 stitches to allow for the leather to actually stitch out nice and cleanly, and to allow for the fact that the floating of the project is a little different this time. There's actually a little post-it note on the machine up the top, which you can't see, which says needles 8, 9, and 10 are leather needles at the moment. And the reason we have swapped to a leather needle is it has a slightly different scarf and point to the needle, which allows it to push through that leather a little bit easier than some of our embroidery needles would be. We didn't increase the size of the needle. It's still a 90 it's a 90 leather needle. So it's a little bit heavier than our embroidery needles. Sorry, minor mistake there for me. I got it mixed up with my regular sewing needles. But we've just gone to the leather needles to allow it a little bit more space to get through that leather. With our leather, we actually just cut it using a cutting blade and we used a rotary cutter, and then we also used a scalpel, and we just lined it up against a ruler to actually cut out. We have experimented with putting it through the scan and cut as well, and it did work, but just be aware it is a very lightweight, very supple style of leather. So here in our actual stitch out, we have stitched out our lettering for our actual monogram, and then we have doing our extra borders and things around the actual monogram to actually show the stitching out. And later on I'm going to show you some of the digitizing that we did for this, so you can have a look. And as always, this is going to be a project which will be available for you to download and stitch out your own as well. And as always, you'll be able to customize those letters with inside of Hatch using the EMB file, so that it is perfect for whichever letters suit the people in your family. So as I said, I did speed up the actual footage for the stitch out. But what we've done is this will create the outside of our actual folder. So the card holder will fold in half directly along that center line to create two pockets, which we are going to create using two extra panels of leather. You'll see that in the next section. So our first step is to hoop up and stitch out, and we're stitching out our actual monogram. So you'll see that one first. So it's actually a multi-part piece. So you'll hoop up again, and this time when we hoop up, we're going to hoop up with a tearaway stabilizer. So the reason we used a non-tearaway in the first part is we wanted to add a little bit more stability to the actual stitch work, which is going on the leather. Even though it is a very lightweight leather, if you're going to use a leather, you could also use a vinyl, you could use a pleather. There's a whole bunch of different things that you could use. What we're essentially looking for is we're looking for a fabric which is doesn't fray in any ways, because those edges are not finished. So this is why we're testing it out with a leather. You could also use the vinyls. Anything that doesn't fray is going to work really great for this project. So you can swap up the fabrics and move it around to whatever is easy. And like in the chat, if you guys want to let me know whether it is easy for you to get hold of like leather and vinyls and things like that. Here it's super easy for us to get hold of those kinds of things. We have many different stores that use it. Sometimes with the vinyls, if we're trying to find a very specific color, we'll just head to our local like stationery store and like pencil cases, fantastic for that because they come in a wide variety of colors. They're super cheap and they're perfect for actually fitting the project in. So sometimes you can be inventive about where you're getting your base materials for your projects as well, which makes it nice and fun. All right, so we've seen the first part of the stitch out where we've created the outside, and now we're going to show the second part of our actual stitch out. Now here you can see we've changed our stabilizer. We've now gone to a tearaway stabilizer. And once again, we are showing our placement line to show us where to place our leather. Now, through much experimenting and working this project out, what we'll actually do when we layer it up to start the stitching on the outside to create the pockets is we're actually going to put the pockets down first and then cover it with the piece you just saw us stitched out. And the reason we're doing that is it helps keep everything in a position. And here it is, you can see it's all lined up. Underneath this one which we have with the lettering is the pockets already inside there. So it means that it ends up with a very nice, very smooth edge. And you can see here as we're stitching out that Mai was just making sure that it was going through those multiple layers of leather easily. And again, this is where you're definitely going to want to look at using your leather needle if you are stitching through leather, because your machine needs a little bit extra punch to get through that sort of thickness of that leather. If you're using a vinyl or maybe you could do it with a cork or something like that, you wouldn't need to go up to that heavy weight of a style leather needle because your machine is actually going to be able to punch through those much easier. So that makes it a lot easier for you. And all it is a very simple triple stitch around the outside edge to hold it in position. The whole stitch out actually takes a very small amount of time, making it a really fast little project to actually run through. So, sorry, what we'll actually show is I'll just show you a photo of the finished project again. Apologies for coughing, sorry. So what we'll actually find here is when we open this one up, it's got the little card slots inside to hold like your business cards or anything that you need. We were actually using it for our pass cards to get us into the offices. And one of the team actually said, can I get one made in pink for my daughter? We have tag-on cards for all of our public transport here in Sydney. And so we have made one for them to take their public transport card so that they can actually attach it to their backpack so that they can go to and from school nice and easily. So there's a whole bunch of different ways you could use these little cards. They would be fantastic, as I said, if anyone's looking to make something to sell at markets and things like that. It's a really great way to do it. In the leather, it looked really professional kind of level, but in some of the others that we did with some vinyls and things, they were super fun. So I think it's one of those projects that you can really customize up quite well. And it would also take some really different types of stitching in there on the front panel. You wouldn't just have to do a monogram. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually take you through in Hatch how we do the monogram. But before we do it, I'm going to show in the ones I'm about to show is I'm just showing you just how we did it regularly to get the monogram. When it came to the leather, we did swap out some of our fabric and features. So as you know, inside of Hatch, you can choose your base fabric. We did choose our different base fabrics. And then on some of the leather, because some parts of our leather, being the fact that it was a hide, were slightly thicker. On those ones, we did space out our stitch nodes a little bit more, giving ourselves a little bit more space. One of the reasons we did that is because when your needle is stitching through the leather, as it pierces through the leather and then comes back up, if things are too close together, the needle doesn't have enough time to come through the leather and punch back down again. And the reason being is nothing other than your leather tries to grab your needle and push it through. So just spacing out your lettering a little bit more there makes your machine much happier with you because it's going to make for a much smoother run. So the big things we did was change the needle, slow the machine down, and then adjust the stitches. So if you are working with leathers, definitely keep those sort of hints in mind as a really great way to make it run much smoother without as many tangles and things in there. So Hopefully those little hints help. And now we're going to jump into how we are doing our monograms inside of Hatch. So here I have my Hatch page, and I have opened up a new design. I've dropped down to digitizing. I've chosen the rectangle section, and I'm going to do an outline stitch. And here on my outline stitch, in order to fit it inside of our project, I want my rectangle to be a very specific size. So it actually needs to be 96, sorry, I'm talking in mils here, 96 mil wide by, 96 mil wide by 69 high. And so if you're trying to get things to a specific size, don't forget up there in the sizing, you can actually tick off where it is going to be sized so that you can actually do your actual size. If you keep finding that both are actually going out, you need to take off the section where it's actually making it go in, sorry, I've completely lost the word. Go in proportion is the word I was looking for. Once we have done that, we're going to jump across to our lettering and monogramming, and we are going to choose monogramming. And here you'll see there's a whole drop-down menu which is filled with so many of the different designs that you can alter and change with inside of Hatch. So here is the design that we have chosen, and I'm going to type in the letters that I wish to use for the monogram that I wish to use. So I'm going to put those in, and as you can see, it's starting to resize as it's trying to calculate what I'm up to. And now it's gone, oh, hang on, this is the wrong font. So when the font size is too big, you can see those extra parts of the monogram have jumped in. I'm going to change it to my preferred font, which in this case is felt tip. And now our edges of our monogram, those little designs on the side, have popped back out to where they are meant to be. So if this happens, make sure you change your font and keep your font with inside the recommended font ones so that your Hatch can actually calculate out what you're doing. And now I'm just going to sort of size it down inside my rectangle box here. My rectangle box is my maximum stitch amount I have to fit on 1/2 of that card holder that we just did. So I'm just using my red box there as a measuring tool. That's all I'm doing. And now I'm looking at it, I'm like, well, maybe I don't want those little extra parts on either end, so on the left and right hand sides there. So as I go along in my monogramming a toolbar here, I can actually have a look and see and choose which parts I actually want to look at, whether I want to mirror them, whether I want to move them around. And so lots of different things that you can actually do. So you can play around with it. You can also change the colors. You can import ones from other monograms. There's a whole bunch of different things that you can do within there. One of the things I'm about to do is I'm about to use the delete tab to delete just those sections. And now I've got a much better sense of how big I can make my monogram with its sort of curls around the outside where I want to make a nice kind of borders. I've got a better idea of how big it's going to be with inside my border things. Now I'm going to size it up again. Again, when you're sizing, you can also type in your measurements up the top. I want to make sure that I'm well inside my parameters that I set out before when I was doing my red box, because I want to make sure that as it stitches out, it's not going to run into the edge stitches that hold my card holder together. Once that's all ready, I can delete my outside box, which I was just using as a measuring tool, and now I am ready to drop my monogram directly into our in the hoop design. So anytime you want to do an in the hoop design, you can design your actual embroidery that you want to do outside, keep it as a separate file, and then drop it in at the correct step with inside your in the hoop project. So it kind of makes it nice because it means you get to play around with lots of sizing and you're not going to accidentally pick up one of your layers of your in the hoop design. So if working with lots of layers, even if you have them in different colors, if that's a little confusing for you because maybe you're just starting out, just design it in a separate one and then be ready to drop it in at the right section when you need it. Okay, I've got some questions in the chat, so I'm going to go to the chat and see what we've got. So Deb's asking, how does she access the free designs? She receives the newsletter, but she doesn't see the emails where the free designs are mentioned in the live streams. So what will normally happen is I will do the live stream on the Thursday, and within the next normally 1 to 2 weeks, depending on our actual schedule of when our emails are going out, you will get an email which will give you the feature focus project of the month, which is normally the one I've shown you inside the live stream. If you're not receiving those emails, maybe you're only getting the sales emails, maybe just double check what you have subscribed to, because sometimes people accidentally unsubscribe from the emails and then they don't get them. So you can always go back and resubscribe to make sure that you actually get those ones as well. So that's a good one for that. And Lynn's saying that they made 4 passports for a friend and then they forgot to take pictures. This is me all of the time. I'm always forgetting to take my pictures. Oh, you made one for a 2-month-old, a 3-year-old, and one for each of the parents. It's such a great thing. I have a really lovely leather passport holder, which is my one of my prized possessions for traveling, because everything can keep in the one place, and I'm not always trying to tuck my passport under an arm or shove it in a pocket. I just know where my passports are at all times, and it just takes the stress of traveling out. It also just makes me feel really happy whenever I'm packing that ready to go, because I know I'm off on a big adventure. So it is a really lovely present to make for people, to keep all of those paperworks in place. I actually know someone who was keeping all of their, they were using a passport wallet, but it was all of their medical things, because they were said, oh, I just kept losing the folder, or I'd put the piece of paper down. So they've put them all into this lovely passport holder so that they can take them to their medical appointments. And they just said, it just makes me feel so much better because everything just stays in the one spot and it just slips straight into their bag. So you can use them for multiple different things as well, but it's always a great present to make for people. I also think if you are selling things and you're in an area where a lot of people are going traveling, it makes for such a great travel project as well. Inside the Hatch Academy, which you will all know about, and don't forget you can get it as an app as well on either the Google Play Store or the App Store there as well. Inside the Hatch Academy, there is another Father's Day project, which is actually a Father's Day passport cover, which is done in cork, which is really fantastic if anyone wants to learn how to stitch on cork and have a little bit more information about working with an unusual fabric, and how you can stitch on it and how you can prepare your designs for that as well. So whenever you're looking to stitch on not just regular fabric, always have a look in the Academy. You'll find a whole bunch of different lessons there and projects, which will, while you're maybe not making that exact project, you can look at how they're actually digitizing for that project and apply that to your own design. So that's a really great way to actually build up your skills there. All right, some more things from the chat. Oh, so the team have actually dropped some extra things in for Deb. So you can actually go and get the free designs also from the Hatch website. So the link is now in the chat there for you, everyone as well. Oh, you added an RFF to one side of the cards. That's such a good idea. So the RFF allows them to not be swiped for your credit cards. So that's a really great idea to actually add that into the card holder. So you could definitely do that with today's card holder. You just add it in one of the layers. So that's a really great idea. Thanks so much for that one, Lib. All right, sorry, the chat's moving quite quickly for me and I'm just trying to make sure I've got everyone's questions. I think I have. If I haven't, just drop some more questions in the chat and we will make sure that you get them all. But as I said, whenever we're working with leather, and sometimes this works for vinyls, but mostly with the vinyls, the new vinyls are so smooth and so flexible. You can just stitch them out as normal. We haven't had to make much changes to them at all. If you're going for a super dense kind of tatami level fill on a vinyl though, I definitely look at loosening it up and making it appropriate to the stitch out that you're actually doing. So just always think about how you actually want it to look. Super dense things on fabrics which have less flexibility, such as vinyls and leathers, means that it is going to get a little bit more wavy through it. So just look at that, and also, as always, look at your stabilizers as well. All right, it looks like lots of things. There's lots of comments in the chat from the team. They're dropping in lots of different links for you as well. All of those links are going to stay inside the chat. Now, if you're on YouTube, in the next couple of hours, those aren't going to be there. For YouTube, it takes about 3-4 hours for the video to actually process and for the chat replay to come into position. We don't have any access over that. We can't change that. So if you have missed some of the links and you want to make sure that you get those, be sure to come on back and get those later. They're all going to be there. I'm fairly sure on Facebook they're there all the time, but in YouTube it takes a little bit of time for it to come on back again. And don't forget that if you are looking to get Hatch, take advantage of the back to school offer, which is on at the moment. You've only got a few more days to take advantage of that. If you have extra questions about that, you can always message the team or go through the Facebook user group as well, where someone's always on hand to answer out your questions for that as well. As always, join the Facebook user group and share what you have been digitizing. We love to see your embroidery. It's always super fun to see what everyone is creating using Hatch. So that's a really great thing if you wanted to do that. You can also tag us on any of the social medias as well. All right, I think that's everything for this week's live stream. Once again, thank you to everyone who has joined up and joined along with our chat. It makes it such a great day to see where everyone is coming in from. And special thanks to everyone who came in early and helped me do my sound check to make sure that we ran nice and smoothly for today. I do appreciate it so much. So thank you as always. We will be back again in another fortnight, so in another 2 weeks with another live stream. And hopefully we'll have great new projects. No, we will definitely have new projects. I just can't tell you what the sneak peek is yet because I am still finalizing out the last of the stitches. So I don't even have to show you, but it is great and you will love it. Okay, we'll talk to you then. See you soon.